Quazi here. Pass the tests and it will manifest. Throughout my decade in manifestation and personal development, I've learned that there's always going to be a test before the thing that you want actually shows up. There's a lot of different schools of thought in this space. Most schools of thought are overly optimistic or overly pessimistic. You know, the manifestation space always says that the test is a limiting belief. In reality, there are no tests. I think that's BS. And from my experience, I know that's BS. And the other space that says, oh, nothing is ever given to you, everything is always fought for and earned. Those are two extremes of the different paradigms of existence. So the true answer always lies somewhere in between. There's always a balance. So what I've noticed is you are able to manifest the things that you want that are beyond your wildest dreams, your wildest imagination. However, there will be a gestation period, a revitalization period, okay, before it shows up. And it's happened to me time and time again. And I'm sure a lot of you are experiencing this right now, especially in the current economy, where there's a lot of uncertainty. You don't know what's going to happen. You feel afraid, insecure, uncertain, fearful. Well, if this is happening to you right now, here's how you can actually use it to snowball into higher and higher levels in your life, in your business, whatever it may be. And typically, the most successful companies are born out of recessions. If you look at Microsoft, it came from the oil embargo recession. Uber, Apple, all of these companies were born out of recessions. But that doesn't just happen. There needs to be a specific set of internal tools, mental focuses that will make it happen. So how you align your whole being to be able to tap into a specific sector of reality and turn away from this current sector of reality that you're experiencing that you don't like, that is going to be the most crucial part to doing this. And this has especially been the most important part to my journey, because if you have been following me, maybe you haven't, but to reiterate my story, I was able to quit a soul-sucking 9-to-5 corporate job, start my own business, and take it off the ground. However, when I quit that job, in the process of doing that, I was met with tons of challenges, life testing me, and basically seeing if I was good enough to receive it. Okay, so I'm going to explain that story. I'm going to get deeper into that, but I will also share with you actionable tools you can begin to implement today to use this. And I promise you, once you fully understand this, everything is going to fall into place magically. Like, I know it will, but it has to be given a great deal of care. There is a lot of ways you can go wrong. So please, please, please pay attention to this video, because this will be the key that will just, all of the manifestation teachings, all of the reality creation, personal development teachings that you've gotten, this is what will make sense of all of it for you, okay? And throughout my whole journey, nothing has been more important than learning how to properly deal with these tests. These are the reasons why people fall back into their old state and they're never able to break free and get to the next level, okay? To begin with, you have to understand that there are essentially 3 different stages of manifestation. 3 stages. If you were to live a life of comfort and you didn't want to grow at all, there would be no tests. Let's just get that straight. If you are enjoying your life, you don't want to grow, and you see a lot of people who are very content with what they have. They're not ambitious at all. They don't experience much discomfort in their lives. But to those who do experience discomfort, it's because life is challenging you to grow. Growth never comes from the comfort zone. Growth always happens when you are uncomfortable. That is just the truth to life. And there's a great quote by a great man named Viktor Frankl. He had a book called Man's Search for Meaning, where he was in a Nazi prison camp and he was trying to make sense of his suffering. He was trying to understand it. And his method went on to be known as logotherapy, giving meaning to where things may seem bleak and meaningless, okay? And one quote that he has that always stood out to me is, all of man's rights can be taken away from him except his attitude. So if I were to read you the quote directly, I would say, everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. The only right you have, the right that will change your life, is to choose your attitude at any stage in life. Okay? So let's talk about the 3 different stages of manifestation for someone who is wanting to grow, for someone who is wanting to take their lives to the next level. Stage 1 begins with intention. What is intention? You set a goal, you place an order. The correct way of setting an intention is you place an order. This is slanted. I can't properly see, but I can see that it's slanted over there. However, intention is your resolve to do plus have. Okay? Do plus have. I will do anything to get that. I will have it. I will have it. The highest form of intention is, it doesn't matter how it happens. I don't care. I will have it. I've made the decision. It will be mine. That's the highest form of intention. When you make this intention, now life begins to prepare the order for its delivery. For the meager human mind, we don't comprehend life's grandest ways, because remember, life will always try to take the path of least resistance. If I put this marker up here, what does the pen want to do? The marker wants to go to ground level. Why? Because that is the most stable energetic level. That is the most stable energetic equilibrium. So when life wants to deliver you your goals, it takes the path of least resistance. So creating obstacles and problems actually creates more imbalance, and life doesn't like that. Life wants to give it to you the smoothest way possible. However, we create resistances. We create this battle, which then life has to create more resistances, more obstacles, just to counteract our intention. So when I make an intention to have something and I don't like the way life is giving it to me, then I fight that way. You know, I want to grow my business, but then I don't like the way, you know, I move 3 steps forward and 2 steps back. I don't like it and I resist it. I internally fight it. What do you think happens? Life then creates more things to fight about, but it doesn't want to. It actually disrupts equilibrium. Okay? Creating negative, unwanted circumstances actually disrupts life's equilibrium. So it doesn't inherently want to do that. We are the ones who create that. So if you feel a lot of tension in your body, a lot of fear and a lot of uncertainty, chances are that's what's happening. You are creating this resistance. Okay? So when you make an intention, what happens next? This is the most important period. It's called the revitalization period. This is when life throws tests and challenges. What does this look like? Let's say you made the goal to, guys, I really apologize for my writing. It's looking crazy, but I hope you can understand it. I am speaking it. So revitalization, life will throw tests and challenges. This is a given. This will happen. There is no escaping it. Okay? How fun would a movie be if you just begin watching it and then there's the happy ending with no conflict whatsoever, nothing to overcome, no hero's journey? It would be quite a boring movie, wouldn't it? Well, that's why these tests and challenges exist, because our soul came to this earth to experience what? Adventure. We're here for adventure. The bad makes the good worth it. If you just keep getting what you want, if you were born and you got everything that you wanted, well, maybe if you were wise enough, you'd become like the Buddha, who was a prince and he escaped everything to find meaning. Even the Buddha was unfulfilled by having everything that he wanted in his life, that he decided to give everything up. He actually pursued struggle, okay? But look at what a blessing you have. You're experiencing struggle. That means you're alive, okay? The joy of being alive. That's what you have, right? So you're met with tests and challenges. Most people never grow in their lives because they don't know how to overcome these tests and challenges. They fold. Don't fold. The only way you can get through your fear is by getting through your fear, not by escaping it, not by running away from it. Whatever it is that you're running away from, whatever it is that you're so afraid of, the only way you can overcome those demons is by looking them straight in the eyes and saying, "You don't scare me. You don't scare me." That's it. That's all you need to do. And that's why we always teach our clients to pursue discomfort. But you have to have the right meaning, okay? Right way of relating to that discomfort. Otherwise, it won't lead you to growth. It will actually lead you to more and more pain and more uncomfortable things until life opens you up. So these tests and challenges are a way for life to open you up to receiving. So we have certain ideas of how we want to get things and what we want to do. Life wants to challenge those, shake those boundaries, open them up so we're fully open to receiving. So this is the period where life says, do you really want this? Do you really want this? Are you willing to stay persistent with that intention that you made? Or are you going to say, no, 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 it's too painful, I can't do this anymore, and you're going to fold? If you look at every single successful person, they've always had this period of pain in their lives. Now, you may not like some of these individuals I'm going to talk about, but they all had some kind of challenge. Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, even Warren Buffett. They all had some kind of big challenge in their lives, okay? So because they were able to overcome those challenges and have the right attitude through them, they persisted through them, they were able to come out on the other side and actually be successful. So your attitude is the most important thing. Just like Viktor Frankl would say, your attitude. Never let that be rotten. Never let that be affected, because that is the cause. That cause has to be pure. Never let it be sullied. Okay? Now, let's say you make the intention to grow your business. What will happen, or maybe grow your income, or maybe, just make more money, or just improve your health, marriage, whatever it is. You make an intention to level up in your life. Okay? Now that you've made this intention, what's interesting is you'll start to see a lot of unrelated things going wrong. Maybe all of a sudden you get hit with a big tax bill. Maybe your car breaks down and you have an unexpected bill. Maybe something really bad happens with your marriage. Maybe there's infidelity or something crazy that you weren't expecting, right? All of these unrelated things happen. Maybe an appliance breaks in your house and just sets an unexpected bill. What do you do? Well, this is where learning to keep your attitude becomes so important. And so to pass these tests, we actually have to understand the mirror principle, which I will get into right after this. But to just complete this, the last step, once you've successfully passed the test, is the manifestation. What does the word manifestation mean? It means to show. It's unseen right now. It will show. It is simply becoming evident. It already exists in the alternative space, the all space, or the quantum space, where every single possible outcome exists. It just hasn't materialized. Do you remember the double slit experiment? Well, what happens when the electron is observed? The wave function breaks down. It solidifies, right? But before observation, when it's not observed, it behaves like a wave. Upon observation, it changes the property. So when we observe, that's one control function we have, the observation of it. When we observe, we affect what's happening. We affect the phenomenon. We make a change. It's not the same. Our observation actually makes an impact. It has an impact. Okay? So now, the most crucial part we've all been waiting for. How to pass these tests properly? Well, I'd like to employ the help of my friend, the mirror principle. So to properly understand how to pass the tests, we have to understand the mirror principle. The mirror principle is very simple. Reality acts as a dual mirror. On one side is the image that's being presented to the mirror. On the other side is the reflection that is being reflected. Okay? So the side of the mirror that we look into, it's infinite, it's vast, it is all stretching. This side, the reflection that we're seeing, is what? It's limited. It's limited to what can be conceived. So one side of the mirror contains every possible outcome that can be manifested. The other side of the mirror is manifesting one particular sector. So the parameters of our thought energy is attuning us to one lifeline, one sector of the quantum space. And therefore, that observation of that thought-feeling combination is manifesting one particular sector. The very reason you are in this body right now, living in 2025, is because of your thought energy. Now, a lot of it is conscious, most of it is unconscious. And the yogis call this karma, right? Karma. The action of previous lifetimes is the reason why you were born in this womb, in this timeline, in this lifeline. Simple. If you had an unexpressed desire, your body will take on, your soul will take on a particular body to fulfill that desire in the next lifetime. That is why they believed in reincarnation. That's why we reincarnate. We've come to this earth to experience a specific purpose, with a specific goal, something that was unfulfilled. In short, we've come to this earth to work out our karmas. So unless and until you achieve your goals, that's why my goal, my work, is so centered around helping you achieve your goals. Because once you achieve your goals, what happens? The illusion breaks. You've achieved it. You've made it. Now what? Now what? And so Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, the book that fathered all modern yoga, written by one of the greatest sages to have ever walked the earth, it begins with, and now yoga, right? Because you've tried the women, you've tried the money, you've tried the drinking, you've tried the drugs and whatever it is, and now yoga, right? That's what you come to. So, how does the mirror principle help us pass the tests? To understand the dual mirror reality, you know now that one side is the image and the other side is the reflection. The image is the thought energy that we have, the attitude that we have, the thought-feeling combination. The thought-feeling combination I'm presenting to the mirror results in a reflection, which is the material reality that I see. If I feel positive and good about money and I believe I'm worthy of money, then more money will come my way. I manifest what I am, not what I do, not what I want to have. My thought energy, the frequency or the energy that I'm embodying, is what manifests in physical reality, right? So now we have to understand the cycle of the mirror cycle, and how this cycle actually works in manifesting the sector of reality that you're experiencing. So there's three parts to this. There is an observing part, the witnessing part. There is the image part, the image that's being presented to the mirror, and then there's the reflection part. So, what actually happens is there's two types of people in the world. The type of person who's a slave to their circumstances. I don't like to use this term, but it's a term that effectively describes people like that. Sheep, right? People who are sheep, people who are zombies. They walk around like zombies. They're not aware of these. And it's unfortunate that they're not, but that is what they are. They've become like zombies and sheep. They've been conditioned to live a certain way. They're not awake. And then there are the reality creators. Those who know about this, those like you who watch this video, who are taking active steps to changing your destiny. Okay, so I commend you for that, for being here today, for sitting through this, for actually being interested in this. You have an advantage that most people will never have, right? So for the sheep, what happens? They look at their current reality, the current reflection that exists, all of the things that they don't like, and they make an observation. They look at all the bills, look at the economy going to shit, look at all of these bad things happening, look at my life as a disaster. The last 30 years have been disastrous, or the 40 years have been disastrous. I've lived the life that I didn't want to live. And they do what? They observe that. Okay, so this is the current state of things. And they use that to make a conclusion. Okay, I don't have a lot of money in my bank account, and I have a failed marriage, and I have, all of these problems happening, or I've worked this job my whole life, even though I have a lot of money, I'm not fulfilled, I'm not happy, I'm the kind of person that. They use that to make a conclusion. Right? This is why people stay stuck with their current reality. They use that to make a conclusion, they use that to present their attitude. What they're observing becomes their conclusion, which then becomes their attitude, which is the image that they present to the mirror. So in red, I'm going to mark what happens to sheep. Sheep begin at observation, number one. Then they present the image after making a conclusion that they are not good enough. And then they see the same thing reflected. What happens? Because they're presenting that image to the mirror, they are reflecting. The mirror of reality is dispassionate. It doesn't care if you're positive or negative. It just looks at the content of it. And it looks at the intensity of your thought energy. If I intensely hate one particular event that keeps happening in my life, or people always disrespect me, women never like me, or men never like me, or my boss never respects me. I never get that promotion. Everyone else does. I never grow my business. Everyone else does. All of my friends are richer than me. You feel very strongly about that. So the mirror of reality reflects that. It says, oh, this is the image you're presenting? Okay, here you go. Here's more problems. Here's more of you staying stuck with your current income and not making a change. Here's more scarcity, right? And you wouldn't believe it. I have clients who make multi seven figures, like $800,000, $900,000 a month in their businesses. And they get to keep a good chunk of that. They're living a really good life. But then they have one bad month. And what happens? What if I can't feed myself? What if I can't feed my family? And look, happens to everyone. It happens to me too sometimes. You go to the worst case scenario and then you keep going down that rabbit hole and then you expand it and you're like, if this 1 month keeps happening for the rest of my life, then I'm doomed. Then I'm doomed. Then I'm gonna be homeless. Well, the chances of that happening are slim to none. That's truly the worst case scenario, right? So, sheep begin, observe, image, reflection. Now, interesting question. So when they get that reflection, what do? They observe it again, right? They observe it again and they're like, oh, okay. See, more bad things are happening. Okay, see, I told you. I am a bad person, or I am a poor person, or I am this kind of person who only gets these unfortunate circumstances. Then it keeps looping. They keep staying stuck in the same Groundhog Day again and again. They keep waking up to the same job, experiencing the same life, the same daily commute, nothing different in their lives. Okay? The same thing keeps happening over and over again. Now, for reality creators, what happens? They actually don't begin here. They begin with the image that they would like to see. Aha, now we're getting somewhere. So they begin here at the image. They say, the kind of reality I would like to see, even though my current reality may not reflect that, that's okay. But the reality I like to see is where I'm abundant, where I'm wealthy, where I take a vacation with my family, where I don't work long hours and I have, a 4-hour work week or a 10-hour work week, or I'm doing what I love every single day. I'm truly passionate about it. That's the kind of reality that I want to live. I'm the kind of person that lives that reality. And guess what? When you set that intention, your reality actually begins to reflect it. You actually do have some reflections of it, because the glass is always what? It's always half full. So for example, if you've set the goal to become an attractive person, I love using this example, you say, I would like to become an attractive person to the opposite sex. And then someone on the line at Starbucks looks at you for longer than 5 seconds. That is a reflection. Your old reptilian brain would say, no, that's an exception. That's just, it doesn't count. It's not big enough. But isn't every win a win? If you made the goal to become a successful trader and you had one successful trading day, even though it was a small amount of profit, maybe $100, $200 in profit, wasn't that a successful trade? Oh no, but that's an exception. I didn't make $3,000 in profit. And the craziest part is, I remember when I made my first $20,000 month in August of 2019, I actually felt disappointed. So I made around 26,000 or 23,000, something like that. And I was disappointed. I was like, oh, I could have made 30,000 if I closed those 2 extra clients. If I just got those 2 extra clients, I would have made more money. How crazy is that? I'd achieved the goal that I wanted to achieve for such a long time, and I was disappointed. I was unhappy. I was miserable a little bit. Like, I was happy, but at the same time, I wasn't fully satisfied. Because what do they say? Never be satisfied. They use these crazy stories and analogies to keep you stuck in lower vibrations. Like, no, you should never be satisfied. You should always want more. What if you didn't have to live from that paradigm? What would happen in your life? How would your life change if you didn't have to live in that scarcity paradigm? You wouldn't be living in the fear of losing it all. And therefore, you would be abundant. It's as simple as that. So for the reality creator, when they see the reflection, they observe the part of the reflection they want to see. This is the most crucial distinction. Their observation is very different. The quality of their observation is very different. The key distinction between reality creators and sheep are what they focus on, the content of their focus. In their observation, they don't look at things objectively. They look at things biased. They look at the reflection that corresponds to the image. If I have made the goal to become a successful business owner, let's say I want to grow my business, and I have maybe something that corresponds to it, maybe one advertising campaign doing well, maybe I make a YouTube video, I want to become a successful YouTube video maker, or I want to become more confident in presenting myself on camera. I have one person giving me a positive comment. Even if there was 99 other people, which never happens, by the way, even if there were 99 other people who didn't leave a comment at all or left a negative comment, right? I'm going to hyperfixate on that one positive sector of reality. And I'm going to expand that. That is what reality creators do. That's it. They just focus on what they want to see. If you look at some of the most successful people in the world, like those people that I mentioned, Warren Buffett, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, no matter how much you hate them, they're incredibly biased. Elon wants to go to moon. He wants to go to Mars, right? And he's incredibly hell-bent on getting there. They're so strong in their own reality. They create a reality distortion field. Their frame of reality is so strong. They create this distortion field where everyone falls into their frame. Okay? So this is what I want you to remember. Never begin here at observing your current reality. No. Begin here with the image that you want to present. It will reflect, and your observation, you simply observe what is corresponding to that. You look for proof. Okay? So, 2 keys I want to leave you off with. Number 1, reality creators begin at the image. Image beginning. And number 2, reality creators do what? They look for evidence of their reality becoming. They look for proof of their reality coming to life. So they observe differently. They focus on reflection. Now, you may see a lot of these negative things happening when you make the intention. You present an image and all of a sudden you see negative reflections. Turn away from them. Be in the world and not of it. Be at the cause and not the effect. When you're at the effect, you're like the sheep. You look at all the bad things that are happening and you objectively say, all these bad things are happening, then I must not be good enough. No, you are what you say you are. If you say you're not good enough, then the mirror of reality will begin to reflect that. That's why you will move one step forward and one step back, because you're not fully congruent and aligned in the reality you want to create. So, one of our clients, Noor, trader, he was going through a real tough time with his trading. He had a really big mortgage payment, and he was making mortgage payments, and he was running out of his savings, and he didn't know what to do. He didn't know how he would make his payments, and he just got hit with a big tax bill. And he was trying to crack it with trading for over a year, and he just couldn't do it. He couldn't find the right strategy. He didn't see himself as a successful trader, but then he switched that. During those moments of struggle where he was uncertain about the future, he was fearful about the economy, he was fearful about what was happening, you know what he did? He followed this. He kept his attitude intact. He focused on the little proof, the little evidence of his desired reality becoming a successful trader. Last month, guess how much he made from his trading profits? He got a payout of $30,000, a 30K on his funded account. He got a $30,000 profit in trading in his second month of trading with the new strategy, right? Not only did he find a strategy that worked because he believed he was a good trader, but it actually led to actual results. So guys, I can't understate how powerful this is going to be for you in your life if properly implemented. So leave me a comment with your thoughts. I'd really like to see your comments. This is a completely new channel. However, if you want to take this teaching deeper, I've made a comprehensive video on the mirror principle on my other channel. All you need to do is click right here to access it. There's a complete guide in there for you too. It's titled How the Mirror Principle Made Me $200,000 a Month. So go ahead and click that. I am excited for you to make 2025 your year. See you soon.